good one. It feels big. It feels real big. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are no longer in Pittsburgh. We are actually in Florida, if you couldn't tell from the intro. We are finally doing the series that I had just done a poll on my page. About 85% of you guys said you would like to see it. And for the guys that just want to see instructional videos, this is going to be more than just me fishing on the water. We're going to offer tips on how to catch bigger bass in stuff like this. Bunch of reeds, heavy cover. I haven't fished in Florida in over a year, so we're going to be trying to figure these fish out together. And I'm going to post my journey along the way. Each day is going to be a new video. They'll post once a week. And the other video for the week will still be an instructional video, so I don't leave you guys hanging that didn't really want to see this, but I promise you it's going to be a little more interesting than you think. So before we get started for today's video, let me offer you a little bit of background on what we're doing in this series. We're going to try and catch my new PB. We're actually on the lake that I caught my current PB on, and many others before then. 8 years ago, I caught my first bass over 6 pounds. 6 pounds, 2 ounces. That was my PB for 5 years until I came to Florida for a college fishing tournament. I fished that college fishing tournament and caught a 6 pound, 8 ounce bass in the tournament. That stayed my PB for a while until 2020. We came down to visit my girlfriend's parents and I fished in Florida for a month. I caught so many big bass during that time. It was prime time. Fish were spawning and post spawn. I caught an 8 pounder on this lake, which clued me in that there was some really, really big ones in here. I didn't expect to catch an 8 pounder. I ended up catching plenty of 7s, 6s, a 9, and then finally one day I caught an 1192. Here's the picture of that fish right here. It was an absolutely insane fish catch. I do have a video on it, but it was back when I was not very good with the camera. I'll link it down below if you want to go check that fish catch out. It was pretty awesome. But we're gonna try and break an 1192. I don't know that I'll ever break that in my life, but it's a big challenge, and we have about 8 days to do it down here over Thanksgiving week. We're gonna try and get it done on this lake here, but if we cannot accomplish it here, we may try and scout out some other lakes and try and find a big one somewhere else. I only got 3 hours before sundown. Hopefully we can catch a couple fish. There we go. First one, flipping in some heavy bushes here, which is not typical for Florida. Typically it's all vegetation, but we got a bunch of bushes in the water and we busted one in the head with a big flipping weight. So that was maybe 3 casts with it, so it's a good sign. Hopefully we can get a couple more. Like I said, not a big one, but the little ones guide you in on what the big ones do. The one thing about Florida is you can catch a bunch of little ones and then all of a sudden a 10 pounder out of the same bush, same stretch, anything. So we'll keep flipping away and maybe we'll get a big one. See you, buddy. No more bites flipping that beaver around, so we're gonna try something different. Main forage in Florida is actually golden shiners. So this is a little golden shiner swim jig, 3/8 ounce dirty jig with a Copperfield colored Kitech 3.8. We're gonna try and toss this thing around. This sparser cover, I can fish it over the top really, really fast. I can reel it through everything effectively and cover a lot of water and see if they're in a mood for a nice golden shiner meal. And maybe we'll catch a big one on this Kitech and swim jig combo. If not, we'll probably go back to flipping or maybe fish some docks. There we go. Oh, he ate that right off the surface. That was crazy. Little one. But that's still another step in the right direction. He is small though. We'll throw him back. Let's try and get a big one. There's another one. Flipping in these reeds. That's a good sign. The reeds is where I think they're gonna be, but that was my first bite out of there. We'll see if there's more. 2 fish flipping, 1 on a swim jig so far. Again, they're all small, but it's clues to getting the bigger bites. We'll eventually figure them out. Once we figure out where the smaller ones are, we can put our bait in the area where the fish actually are. There's one. Another little guy. I'm surprised they're eating this. Another little baby one right there. He's almost like reddish, which is kind of cool, but still not the ones we're after. There we go. Ate it like a topwater, geez. I believe that is bass number 5 for the day, but there's still no big ones. But I guess it wouldn't be very entertaining for me to come out here, whack a 12-pounder and call it a mission. So we're gonna keep catching little ones until we find a big one. See you, buddy. So today was supposed to be day 2 of this Quest for a New PB series, but yesterday absolutely sucked. I figured instead of making it its own video and having you watch me catch 6 dinks and that be the end of the video, we'll just roll day 2 into it. We got a full day today and we're gonna grind it out and try and figure out what these fish are doing. Hopefully we can catch a couple today, and hopefully we can get clued in on at least one big one. If I can get one big one to bite, it might tell me a little bit about what I need to be doing to catch my new PB possibly. So let's get out on the water and let's see if we can catch a couple fish. There's one. First one of the day on a wacky rig. Probably not the best way to catch a big bass, but it's a start. Got us a bite fairly quickly today compared to yesterday. Yesterday was a struggle, but we'll go ahead and throw him back and try and get some more. There's one. Wasn't even paying attention. Another one on the wacky. Come on, buddy. You're small too. Why are they all so small? Oh, you're on a bed. I think this one's on a bed. Could be a good sign, could be a hard sign, I don't know, but another one for the day. Probably the biggest one of the trip so far, but definitely not a big one, so we'll keep trying to get a big one. See you, buddy. There's one. Come on, buddy. They're all so small, but they love this thing. Hey, 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 hey. Dude, stop. Another little baby, we'll keep trying. Oh, there we go. Another one on the wacky. They're all small though. Over and over and over again. Why would he be, there's a perfect dock right there and he was on that. They're just in the weirdest places. Probably the biggest one so far though. We're gonna go ahead and let her go. What? Fish grabbed it, swam it all the way out here to the boat. They're on this so good, they're just not big. I don't know if I need to switch baits or locations or what. Throw him back. Typically in Florida, when you find a bunch of fish, or at least get them on a bait, you can just keep throwing that bait and you just have to find the right area that those bigger ones are in. But sometimes you're in the right area, you just have to change baits. It's one or the other, and I don't know which one it is. I've been trying to flip for the big ones, throw in like a 1 ounce tungsten, and they won't touch that. I've tried a swim jig, spinnerbait, top water. I've tried a bunch of stuff, and it seems like the only thing I can get bit on is this wacky rig. But I don't catch any big ones with it. I got that one. You ripped my Senko. They're all so small, but they're all up against the seawalls, which is literally telling me that they're on beds. But I haven't seen any when I've gone up against the seawalls, so I don't really know what's going on. We'll let him go and try and figure him out. So the wind picked up insane right now. It's got to be blowing over 20 miles an hour. This is only a 100-acre lake, so it's not too rough and I can still fish, but it's pretty much unbearable right now anywhere the wind is actually blowing into. And I forgot my boat keys, so I can't get across the lake to actually where I want to fish. I've just been fishing on a trolling motor all morning. So we're gonna go take a quick break for breakfast and we're gonna try and figure something out. I know Florida fish, they hate two things, clouds and wind. And we got both of them. So it's gonna be tough to get them to bite today, especially a big one, but we're gonna give it a shot. All right, we took our little break for lunch there and we are back out on the water. It is still as windy as it was earlier. It might have calmed down like 5 miles per hour, but that just means 20 miles per hour instead of 25. So we're gonna show you a little Florida fishing secret here. I wouldn't really say it's a big secret, but all you do is go to wherever the wind is blowing from. So we got a north wind right now. We're gonna go to the north banks of this lake and fish really, really slow on those areas. What happens is the wind actually churns up the water. Typically, you want wind, it pushes the bait in there and the fish and everything like that. But in Florida, it stirs up the water because everything's sandy and muddy. So those fish can't find a bait as well. Florida bass like really, really clear water. So we're gonna go fish the non-windy side. We're gonna try the Senko, and I even put a Senko on a Texas rig to punch mats with. I'm gonna try and do that instead of the beaver with the heavier weight and see if maybe a lighter weight might get them to bite better. It seems like it's really, really tough out here and a lot of small ones, but we're gonna go try and put something together. We'll see you at the first spot. There we go. On the Senko. Flipping it. Just a little guy there, but that was the first one. Flipping our little Senko. We'll see if we can get some more. Oh my gosh. Look at that bluegill. It's a big bluegill. Little one under a dock with a speed worm. Tiny. We'll throw him back. Oh, that feels like a good one. Better one, finally. Finally, a better one. Not a giant, but a better one. Big head, skinny body. All right, so we finally scored ourselves a nice one here. You can see how dark this water is in Florida. It's crazy. I've never fished anything like it until I came down here. That like tannic water that everybody talks about. There she goes. We finally scored ourselves a nice one. That fish was only 2.5, maybe 3 pounds if I'm lucky. But that was the first good one of the trip. Might have keyed us in on something, which is weird because I tried that. That's actually what I caught many of my big ones before on this lake. I was a Texas rigged June bug red trick worm, and all I do is skip it under the docks. It's almost like a Senko, but it sinks a little bit faster, and you can get it down there and work it really, really slow through the dock posts because there's a lot of wooden docks down here. I thought that would be the ticket, but I didn't catch anything on it this trip so far. But I skipped it under that dock right there and magically caught a big one. So I don't know if I'm just putting it under the wrong docks or if I'm fishing it too fast or what the deal is. We'll skip a few more docks with it and see if we can get a couple more big ones. it a good one? It feels big. It feels real big. Oh, come on, baby. Be giant. Be giant. Be giant. It's giant. Yes. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That might be a 10-pounder. Oh, that's a 10-pounder. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Look at that one. Yes. That is what we came here for. Yes. What a fish. I mean, that thing is a tank. She's a little beat up. Probably full of eggs or bluegills, not sure which. We're gonna go ahead and let her go. Give her a nice gentle release right back to the dock where she came from. Make sure she's good to go. We don't want to kill her. There she goes. Wow. Oh, that gets me fired up. All right, guys, I got a little excited because that thing was a tank compared to what we have been catching for today. We're winding down for the day. We still got about an hour of daylight left, so hopefully we can find another giant one just like her. I thought she was a 10. She went about 8.5, somewhere between 8 1/4, 8.5, right in that range. Still an absolute giant fish. You do not catch fish like that in Pennsylvania. That is why we came to Florida, to try and catch our new PB. This one is not it, but it was close. Unfortunately, that is gonna do it for the first episode of my quest for a new PB. We came kind of close. 8.5 pounder, pretty big fish. It has just been an absolute struggle out here. Yesterday I only caught 6 fish. None of them were over 12 inches. Today I couldn't get bites over 12 inches. I was catching them on that wacky rig, throwing a little bit of everything, trying to figure out what these fish are doing. And then I finally just skipped that worm under that one dock and caught that 3-pounder. And I decided to skip a couple other docks, and then I caught that big one. So might have clued in on a little something. I don't know if I'm gonna come back out here again tomorrow or if we're gonna start exploring new opportunities, because last year when I fished on this lake, I fished here all week trying to catch another 12-pounder like I did the year before, and it never happened. I just caught a bunch of little ones or nothing at all, and it was very tough fishing, just like right now. And then the day before we went to leave, I went to a different lake just to check it out, showed up there, and I caught an 8-pounder immediately. So I regretted not exploring some other options, so maybe we might do that this time just to make sure that I don't leave anything on the table and we try and get ourselves a new PB. So if you enjoyed today's video and want to see more of the series, hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you leave a like, and thanks for watching.